Good afternoon, everybody. Tim Knight, and we're here to catch up on some charts. We've got a overall very green day on our hands, lifetime highs across the board. Well, not across the board. In most cases, there are some indexes that still haven't quite made lifetime highs. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Not a good week for the bears at all. My own individual shorts about, I'd say 6 out of 10 are still red on the day, which is encouraging because it's really green otherwise. NQ's up over 500 points, Dow Industrials lifetime high, et cetera, et cetera. My sense is that this is a steady as she goes kind of day. It's the last day of the quarter, last day of the month, some window dressing going on. We'll see, because there's some gaps that we need to pay attention to. And tomorrow we'll resolve whether today was just the proverbial Q2 window dressing or something bigger and more persistent. Let's jump into the wonderful world of charting. And the theme, I guess, today is that pretty much the only solace for the bears out there is crypto. And we'll get to that in a bit. We'll look at some of the green world at first. Here's the diamonds, and very much steady as she goes. This has been climbing since March 30 with precious few interruptions. The last jolt we had was back here on the 10th of June, but looks like another lifetime high close today. Intraday last week was higher, but it doesn't really matter. It's the close that really counts. And so looks like we will close up. It's not up a lot, but about, 0.5% or so on the day for the diamonds. IWM also very steady and up about 3 times as much percentage-wise. Ever since that March bottom, it's just been sailing higher. Of course, a reminder that Thursday morning is the jobs report, Friday's a holiday, and in about 3 weeks, we'll get deep, hip deep into earnings season again, which will give us something non-political to maybe inspire stocks to go one way or the other. But as it is now, it is just sloshing higher day after day. There are gaps here and there still intact. EFA, for example. I am short this as of today, and my stop is just above that price gap right there. And so we've held, that was, of course, there's a big gap last week between Monday and Tuesday. Same applies here. In some cases, that gap's already been filled, like with the spiders. This one, no. We are up 0.41% on EFA today, and as I say, so long as we don't violate that gap, I'm going to stick with that short. In spite of all the chatter over the weekend about, the war has started again and so forth, the markets don't seem to think so. As we look at XLE, which is the energy select sector, that is down about 0.4%. And as I mentioned recently, we got this cute little head and shoulders top. We've been slipping below that. I would say if one were short this, a sensible stop loss would be right along there. That price gap is held. It was just perfect, just fell, retraced, tagged it perfectly, and it's been slowly slipping away since then. So yeah, there's the little topping pattern like so on XLE. XOP has been more depressed than XLE. It's fallen more. It's been slipping away from this big right triangle pattern. If one were already shorted, one might have this as a stop or really tighten it up down to one of these lower bars here because it's already dropped quite a bit. But you can see it's interesting too because before, long before the war broke out, this was almost perfectly straight push higher. It's not like the war broke out here. This was 2 months beforehand. But markets are pretty good at anticipating things. So it pushed higher, 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 very smooth, very steady, very persistent since this violent series of ups and downs. But the principal recent pattern has been the one beneath that right triangle. Well, let's get to crypto bit. The one sliver of sunshine beaming through the beams for the bears. Here is IBIT. I don't know if the symbols have changed on this. It used to be $/BTC would bring up the continuous contract of Bitcoin. Doesn't seem to. I'll try it right now. It didn't work before. I don't know if there's been a change or something, but Yeah, I can't really show you Bitcoin itself, but we'll wing it with IBIT here, which is the ETF. And it is down nicely, 3%, which, you know, it looks like just nothing. It looks like this hardly moving at all. 3% in equity terms, of course, would be like if the Dow was down 1,600 points. It would be a pretty big day. So that's one of the things I like about Bitcoin is can get some volatility going. But IBIT, which I was already short and I added to this today, is down 3%. As you can see, it has been lunging its way lower ever since that tippity top in October when it was approaching Bitcoin itself $130,000. And now it's down to like $58,000. So way more than half the value gone. And it's just been progressing in this steady series of, and there's actually not a bad one there, as I notice. Look at this repetition. So we've got a pattern and a drop, a pattern and a drop, a pattern and a drop. So we're engaged in that drop right now. And I also did a quick kind of classic measured move calculation on BITI, which is the ETF bearish against Bitcoin, which I'm long, and BITI, the measure move on this is something like 42. And right now it's about, what is it, 28 or something like that. So it all depends on if this inverted head and shoulders pattern completes. So clearly if that measure move transpires, it means way lower prices for Bitcoin. I don't have a really firm target in mind for Bitcoin, but something approaching 40 or 41,000, I guess. Yeah, we're taking it a day at a time. With Bitcoin so weak, Michael Saylor's strategy company is down hard, almost 7%. I think I read that it's very odd. Don't quote me on this, but I believe I read that the holdings of Bitcoin actually vastly exceed the market cap of strategy, which implies a huge negative enterprise value. Maybe that's why the volatility is so pronounced. But the interesting thing that's taken place this week is just to review here on let's look at last Friday. Last Friday marked the end of 9 red bars in a row for strategy, like so. And then I guess over the weekend, they made some changes up to the dividend on STRC, did some positive chatter, and it made a difference because yesterday there was a big leap. It undid Friday's drop, it undid Thursday's drop. It was a big day. That's almost all gone now. So it's back to its sluggish ways. So yeah, down almost 7% on MSTR. And as we back away here, you can see that for obvious reasons, its trend apes that which has been Bitcoin's. STRC, which is the other instrument that I guess yields 12% now, had an explosive move yesterday. It's up a little right now still, but the blast was on, interestingly enough, Friday and yesterday on STRC. And there are much tinier but similar instruments out there that have been doing kind of the same thing. ASST is kind of the STRC for Ethereum. That is to say, a high-yielding instrument. But the pattern on this is just exceptionally clean. And beginning with this bar, which constituted the failure of that base, it's been slipping steadily lower as well. BMNR, Bitmine immersion, this is Tom Lee's thing, down almost 3%. And the Trump boys have ABTC, which is down 5.2% to a new lifetime low. So crypto land, crypto is like the only asset class which is reliably bearish and has been so for, 8 months now? How many things can you say that about? None. Crypto's the only one. So, yeah, interesting stuff and a much appreciated splash of red on the screen. I'm going to show a few gaps here and there that are worth noting. One of them is the ETF XLK, which is similar in construction to QQQ, This is a technology ETF, and we are getting awfully close. When we may push past it before the close today, who knows? But this was the price gap from last week, and we have just about sealed it to the penny. In a perfect world, if you're a bear, it would not push past this gap, but tomorrow would slip away from that. Zero guarantee that's going to happen because, for example, Spider had the same gap and it sealed it right up today, this morning. Few individual short positions here and there. There's AXTI, AXTI. Nice completed pattern here, inverted cup with handle, and it slipped and it's up a little today. Actually, three green bars in a row. But all we're doing is pushing back toward that zone of resistance. CarMax KMX down about 1%. And I already have puts, January puts on Carvana, CPNA. This is kind of a similar thing, similar rationale. And just to quickly rough out the overhead supply, it's like so. And so as you can see, we fell quite hard away from that overhead supply and have spent weeks blasting back toward it, but we're just about there. In fact, we were kind of there yesterday. That's when we tagged it. So we didn't close this gap up. Maybe that's all we're going to get. Maybe it's going to pull away from these levels on CarMax. STM, which is ST Microelectronics. This one is up a little bit, but it is broken its uptrend, which is worth noting. STX, which is Seagate, is actually down today, which is pretty freaky because it was exceptionally strong, one of these storage companies that can do no wrong, but it is down 1.3%. It's broken its own uptrend as well. I mean, there's some things I've shown you earlier which just never see a downtick, like Applied Material, AMAT. And my daughter is interning there actually this summer, and the people around her who have worked there for the past 30 years have become obsessed because there was a decade when net it didn't move, and now it's just like up it's up 7% day after day after day. So there's a lot of excitement amongst the old timers there at AMAT. DKNG, I almost always say Donkey Kong. That's what I see, a child of the 80s, DraftKings, DKNG, pulling down 3% away. I've tightened a mind stop on this one to yesterday's high, but that's a nice one, a nice reversal. Kohl's, I think I mentioned this one yesterday also, KSS, down again today, almost 5%. Nice little slippage on the on that retailer. And a couple more, 3 more. Royal Caribbean, RCL, down just a touch, 1.25%. VSH, Vishay Interactive, this one is down almost 5%, and it's done a nice little job of breaking below its own top here. This one was interesting yesterday because it actually fell quite hard and rallied. And we opened weak today and rallied up to this, but it looks like maybe that top is finally done the way it's behaving. And the last of these individuals, WDC, which is Western Digital, down about 1.75%, hasn't quite broken its own uptrend yet. So just to wrap up with a couple of gaps to this one's not so much a gap but a range. This is NQ, the Nasdaq futures, up big, 525 points. We've rallied over 1,000 points just over the past couple of days. We have since back here on the 12th been range bound, bang, bang, bang. And so the next important level of resistance is this peak here, which also happens to be lifetime high territory. So as I said at the top, be interesting to see if this is end of month shenanigans or if there's something more persistent going on. And kind of the last bastion of hope for any semiconductor bears is this gap right here, SMH. Same gap, Monday, Tuesday last week. We are awfully close to it right now, but let's take a fresh look at that tomorrow to see if that was respected or if it got trampled upon.